Do you expect Deshaun to start for the Browns?
I've been trying to tell you guys this for a month because the handwriting has been on the coach's office wall and on especially the owner's office wall for at least a month. It's going to be Deshaun Watson's job to lose. Now, we've had report after report, and Peter Schrager is legit.
Yeah,
He's plugged in.
He is.
NFL Network, now ESPN.
Who's the better quarterback? Deshaun Watson is the better quarterback.
Well, once upon a time he was.
Right now. We've seen Shedeur throw 10 interceptions.
Shedeur made some bad decisions last year, no doubt. But I can't put all of that on Shedeur. You can't just look at the numbers and not look at the tape and say, all right, this ball was tipped. The guy ran the wrong route. The guy cut the route early.
Who gets the interception?
True.
And it ain't like you're the perfect quarterback. That's his dad's energy that's been following him. He's been with him every step of the way.
Though.
He's not with him now.
As soon as he got in the game, Myles Garrett was
Why?
because he got that energy.
It's nostalgia, bro. It's a storyline. It's like Bronny James coming in the game, bro. You guys are giving him the same energy, and he has to produce at the same level as his dad, but he doesn't have that. Deshaun is the most polished player to put in that position right now. Succeed or fail.
You don't know he can do it, though.
You do know he can do it.
How?
Give him an opportunity because he's
You ain't
done
seen
it.
him do it in 5 years.
5 years.
The last person I seen do it was Shedeur.
Shedeur could have been better last year, absolutely. You learn from that, you adapt, and you get better. That's what's important going into year two. And I understand what you're saying. If Deshaun Watson comes out and separate himself significantly from Shedeur in this race, then you go with him. But I think if it's close and it's back and forth, like Monken's been saying, that this is wide open, this competition, it would be more advantageous to go with Shedeur to see what you have in the future and then make a decision with your draft or the quarterback decision next year.
Imagine working your entire life for one shot, one moment, one team, one chance to prove everybody wrong. Now imagine that team choosing someone else.
Peter Schrager says the owner wants him to play mainly because he's going to make $46 million and the owner's pride is on the line for that. And then we look at Todd Monken. He's 60 years old. He just got his first NFL head coaching job. And he's going to reach back and go with tried and true in Deshaun Watson. And I think that's going to be a big mistake because tried and true was a long time ago. And Deshaun Watson has not played a game of football for almost 2 years. They're just going to give Deshaun Watson every chance. Deshaun Watson has not played a game of football for almost 2 years. His last good year, I have to go back to 2020 at Houston when he did lead the league in passing yards. He was 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So now we see these quotes from Todd Monken about Shedeur. He's come miles. That is classic damning with faint praise, as if he needed to come miles and miles. In the end, Deshaun will be the game one starter. They'll fall to 2-8, and maybe at 2-8, Shedeur will get another shot.
It's probably beyond Monken. First time head coach, you new here. If it was me, I'd for sure go with the guy who gonna rally the guys. And to me, that's Shedeur. And when he do get his shot, you gonna see the morale up.
I still think this quarterback competition is wide open, or at least it still should be. I want to see who's going to master this offense during that break and who's going to come back and be further along while they're running this offense. Preseason is going to play a big factor in this. But if it goes back and forth and Shedeur is coming miles, that for me is a compliment. He didn't play great last year. He showed flashes of what he can do. But if it's close this offseason and they're neck and neck, then I'm going with Shedeur.
His name is Shedeur Sanders, son of a legend, quarterback with something to prove. And right now in Cleveland, Ohio, a city that has broken more football hearts than any other in this league, he is sitting in the most uncomfortable seat in the NFL. Not the starter's seat, the backup chair. And the crazy part is, he might be the best thing that's happened to that franchise in a decade, but nobody in that building wants to admit it yet. Let's back up for a second. When Shedeur Sanders came out of Colorado, people weren't just talking about a football player, they were talking about a movement. His father, Deion Sanders, turned Colorado into must-watch television. Travis Hunter, Shedeur, the whole program. It was appointment viewing every single Saturday. And Shedeur held his own in all of it. He threw for thousands of yards, made big-time throws under pressure, led his team, showed leadership that you genuinely cannot teach. And when draft season came around, the conversation was simple. This kid should go in the first round, maybe top 5. Then things got complicated.
Has not played a game of football for almost 2 years. Even worse, over the last 5 seasons, Deshaun Watson has managed to play only 19 of a possible 85 games. 19 of 85, so he's played over the last 5 years, 22% of the possible starts. He tore his ACL, he had throwing shoulder surgery, and he has torn the same Achilles twice now. And
Teams started overthinking it, questioning his NFL readiness, questioning whether his numbers were inflated by the Colorado system, questioning whether Deion's shadow was too big. And suddenly, a quarterback who some believed deserved to go in the top 10 was sliding further than anyone expected. Cleveland took him, and the city collectively held its breath. Now here's where it gets real uncomfortable. The moment Shedeur arrived in Cleveland, two camps formed immediately. Camp 1, the believers, the people who watched every snap at Colorado, who saw the poise, the arm talent, the natural leadership, the people who genuinely believe this kid is a franchise quarterback waiting for the right situation. Camp 2, the skeptics, and they were loud. He's a product of his father's program. Those Colorado numbers don't translate. He's not ready. And then there was Deshaun Watson, still on the roster, still collecting $46 million, and apparently, according to people inside that building, still very much in the conversation to be the Week 1 starter.
That's just what veterans do, but if it was me, I'd for sure go with the guy who gonna rally the guys. Like, you see, whatever their record was when Shedeur came in last year, you seen a team that was rallied.
Agreed.
They off the bench, they watching. That's all I need to see as an owner, as a coach. Who's gonna rally these troops? Who's gonna get the morale? I always talk about that morale. How we feeling in the building? That's our temperature in the building, is that morale. Who's gonna get that up?
That's the reality Shedeur Sanders walked into. Not a blank slate, not a fresh start, a political situation, layered with money, pride, and an owner who spent nearly $500 million on a quarterback that hasn't played consistent football in years. Think about that for 1 second. $46 million. That number doesn't just sit in a bank account. It sits in every single coaching meeting, every quarterback room conversation, every decision the Browns make this offseason. And look, this isn't about hating Deshaun Watson. Once upon a time, he was genuinely one of the best quarterbacks in this league. 2020 in Houston, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, led the NFL in passing yards. The man could play football. But that was 5 years ago. Since arriving in Cleveland, Watson has started 19 games. 19 out of a possible 85. He's dealt with a torn ACL, shoulder surgery, and he's torn the same Achilles twice. His record as a starter with the Browns sits at 9-10. His touchdown to interception ratio is 19 touchdowns to 12 picks, and he hasn't played meaningful football in almost 2 years. So you've got a guy who physically may never be who he was again, and you've got a young quarterback, hungry, healthy, full of energy, sitting right behind him, watching, waiting, and the Browns are leaning toward the veteran. Todd Monken, first-time NFL head coach, 60 years old, getting his first crack at running a team at the highest level. And right out of the gate, his comments about the quarterback situation raised some eyebrows. He said Watson has come miles. Miles. Not that he looked elite, not that he looked like the guy. He said he's come miles, which if you read between the lines, means last season when Shedeur did get his shot, Watson wasn't even close to where he needed to be. He had miles to travel just to become functional again. And yet, somehow, that's still the guy they're leaning on. But here's what separates Shedeur Sanders from a lot of young players in his position. He doesn't panic. There's a version of this story where a young quarterback pouts, gets frustrated, lets the politics eat at him, starts making noise in the media or through agents or through body language that poisons the locker room. That's not Shedeur. The guy shows up to every media session, smiling, answering questions, handling the third-string questions, the backup questions, the what's your role gonna be questions, all of it with a maturity that honestly feels unnatural for someone his age. He references God, he stays positive, and when he does speak about football, there's a confidence that isn't arrogance, it's just belief. He believes in himself in a way that's contagious. Ask the players around him. When Shedeur got inserted into games last season, when the situation was already a mess, when the season was effectively over, when guys had every reason to check out, something shifted. Myles Garrett started playing with more energy. The whole sideline came alive. That's not a coincidence. That's leadership, and you either have it or you don't. Let's talk about what he actually did on the field last year, because the narrative around his stats doesn't tell the whole story. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 3 wins, and 4 losses as a starter. On the surface, those numbers aren't great, and his critics will point to them immediately. But dig deeper.
He beat Joe Burrow in Cleveland, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And Shedeur, a rookie, in a broken situation with one of the worst offensive lines in the league and a receiving core that had no business being on an NFL field, beat him at home. He went to Las Vegas on national television and lit them up. Big throws, big moments, a stage most rookies wilt on. He beat Aaron Rodgers. And the Tennessee game. The Tennessee game. He was playing maybe the best football of his young career, making throws, managing the game, keeping the Browns competitive, and they pulled him, took him off the field. And that momentum, that real, tangible momentum, it just died. Some people in that building will tell you that decision set Shedeur's development back more than any interception he threw all year. Real quick, if you're finding the story as compelling as we do, hit that subscribe button. We cover these stories the way they deserve to be covered. Now back to it. The public reaction to Shedeur's situation is fascinating because it's split almost perfectly down the middle. Polls are showing that a majority of Browns fans and NFL observers actually want Watson to start Week 1. The veteran, the known commodity, the $46 million decision. But the people who watch film, the people who study the tape, who track leadership metrics, who understand what a locker room actually needs, a lot of them are quietly saying the same thing. Cleveland might be making a mistake. Again. And Cleveland has a history of this. The list of quarterbacks who came through that city and never got a real shot is genuinely heartbreaking. It's become a running joke in football circles. Not because the players weren't good enough, but because the organization consistently finds ways to make the wrong call at the wrong moment. Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, Bernie Kosar, a revolving door of quarterbacks who either weren't given enough time or were placed in impossible situations. And now, Shedeur Sanders is next in line. Here's what the next few months will decide. If Watson comes out of OTAs and camp looking sharp, looking like even a fraction of the quarterback he was in Houston, the Browns will hand him the job. The owner's pride will be intact. The $46 million will feel slightly less catastrophic. And Shedeur Sanders will watch. Again. But if Watson struggles, and every injury history, every statistical trend, every physical reality says that's the more likely outcome, the Browns will eventually turn to the kid. And when that moment comes, Shedeur will be ready. Because that's who he is. That's been his whole story. From Pop Warner to high school to Colorado, every time someone told him to wait, every time someone doubted him, every time he had to sit and watch instead of play, he